economic and inter-urban insecurities in all 10 regions was discussed during the over 5 hours governors conference in the Central region chaired by the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, who also mapped out strategies for the smooth running of the December 6th regional elections. We shall be hearing from some governors and their level of preparedness in this newscast. And in health, the Minister of Public Health has today launched a meeting on the National AIDS Meter strategy in order to open windows for Cameroon's 8th month. And in sports, 2017 AFCON champions, the indomitable Lions of Cameroon, are expected to be back on home soil after spanking Mozambique 2 times, both home and abroad. This and many more will be yours in this edition of the news. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Those are our top stories. I am Josephine Bindzi for the news in the English language tonight. The Minister of Public Health, Manauda Malashi, today in Yaoundé chaired a statutory meeting of the National AIDS Committee intended to officially launch the Cameroonian AIDS Month and HIV self-testing. According to the minister, 3.1 of Cameroonians' population is HIV positive, with the South and Central region being the most affected. With statistics as such, the fight against HIV will be intensified in these affected regions and the introduction of auto-testing systems. Let's take a listen to the minister's interview and find out more on this subject.
Said earlier, we have, in this context of the pandemic, we have progress in our program. So we have until now, the South region, who is a big preoccupation for us. We have 5.9. We have the Central region, 4.1, and we have also the great result, like in the northwest regions, which have 1.9. So globally, the rate in our country is 3.1. And I think we are going to more emphasize in the fight in these regions which the rate is very high. Concretely, we are going to introduce the auto tests in Cameroon. So we are going to distribute this auto test with more regards to the I think the regions which we have more problems, like the South region, the East region, the Central regions, and the Adamawa regions.
And now let's talk security. End of year's festivities, the December 6th regional elections, inter-urban insecurity characterized the second session of the Governors' Conference yesterday, chaired by the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji. Let's have the governors of the Northwest, Center, and West regions who explain how their various regions are gearing up towards this end of year festivities.
The necessary measures, the head of state has instructed all the stakeholders to make sure we organize the elections together on the 6th of December, each in our regions. And elections, Cameroon is ready. They have came several times on the spot to train and mobilize all the electoral agents, stakeholders, to get ready for that 6th of December. The concentrated session of the West region are going about the activities in a serene manner. The population remains very vigilant in view of the security concerns. You know, we are bordering the Northwest and the Southwest regions, and we have a double responsibility, that of welcoming our brothers and sisters of the Northwest and Southwest in search of education, and those who are looking for a quiet environment to carry on their activities. And while we are doing that, we are vigilant to make sure that those who are coming in, the separatists do not infiltrate their ranks into our region. So it is a double responsibility, and I think each and everyone is carrying out its responsibility. For now, the vigilance continues, and the region is calm and serene.
These local explosives which have been disturbing the town, and we have taken other measures to be sure that people don't move around with bags. So I see people empty with bags here and there. Those are bags that are to be suspected when they bring them into places where people are, in bars, supermarkets, and other places. So we have taken measures for people and the population to be aware of the dangers when you see people coming in with explosives, with bags that you don't know when you suspect. And we're going to receive some reinforcement at the end of the year for the elections and for the end of the year, so that most of the town will be put under high surveillance and security. And
according to information from Eco Matin, the Bank of Central African States, BEAC, holds claims of around 300 billion CFA francs on the public treasuries of the sub-region in respect to the cash of advances it provided them since December 31, 2017. Details on that story with Catherine Coney.
In its report, Eco Matin noted that the reduction in central bank liquidity has notably risen since 31st December 2017. The decision was part of the package of measures decided by the Bank of Central African States in 2017 to help countries of the sub-region to face their multiple challenges. According to BEAC, their decision to freeze statutory advances to state was aimed at reducing the volume of central bank liquidity, that is, the currency issued in exchange for counterparts by the central bank for the benefit of state and commercial banks, and equally to lower the pressure on reserve assets. In addition to this decision, the package of measures put in place by the issuing body of the sub-region included the revitalization of the interbank market and the optimization of liquidity management. It is moreover within the framework of this last action that BEAC has undertaken to revise the community regulations in terms of foreign exchange reserves and reduce the perception of credit risks by improving the quality of financial information, thereby promoting capital markets. The result of these actions are now convincing, according to the central bank, which assures us that after declining continuously between December 2016 and June 2017, foreign exchange reserves have recovered significantly since then. The rate of external coverage of the currency rose from 57.7% at the end of December 2017 to 70.4% on July 22, 2020, thus forecasting a stabilization at 70% at the end of the year.
High-level officials of CEMAC sub-region are in Paris to source for funds to finance 11 integrated projects. The two-day meeting with potential investors is spearheaded by Congolese President Denis Sassou Nguesso. Peter Nsosier has details in his story.
The roundtable conference in Paris with potential investors and development stakeholders is geared towards raising 3,500 billion francs CFA to fund 11 integrated projects. These projects, which are part of CEMAC's 2017-2020 regional economic projects, target sub-regional transport corridors, energy production and interconnection, telecommunications, economic diversification and other sectors. These projects have been selected due to their maturity. They include the construction of a bridge over the Intem River linking Cameroon to Equatorial Guinea, as well as the construction of a 40-kilometer Lolabe-Campo Expressway linking the two countries. We also have the 144-kilometer Ndende-Intosala road between Gabon and Congo, the Nchone hydroelectric power project to supply electricity to Gabon, Congo, Cameroon and the Central African Republic, as well as the optical fiber interconnection of the 6 CEMAC member states. The flagship projects aligned to the AU's 2030-2063 agenda and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals is expected to strengthen regional integration in the sub-region. The CEMAC delegation to Paris is led by Congolese President Denis Sassou Nguesso, who is president of the CEMAC Economic and Financial Reforms Program, PREF-CEMAC.
And we now take you to Kuwait, a neighborhood in the Douala 2 municipality where the state of the road is a veritable nightmare to commuters. The stretch of road is full of potholes and stagnant water, thus hindering the circulation of vehicles and pedestrians. Catherine Kone was on that beat and completes the story.
The road is muddy, filled with potholes and stagnant waters. Cars and bikes could be spotted galloping from one end to another on the deplorable state of the road. This is the lamentable situation faced by inhabitants living Bois de Singe to Kuwait neighborhood in the Douala 2 municipality. According to this driver, the road has been in this poor state for several years. They had even contributed 10,000 francs each for the rehabilitation of the road, but their effort has proven fruitless. Drivers who ply this road sometimes get stuck, especially after a heavy downpour. The situation to the locals has slowed down economic activities as movement of persons and goods have been limited due to the intolerable nature of the road. It has equally not only hindered circulation of vehicles, but also the cost of transportation has increased. According to this bike rider, a distance that used to be covered for 200 francs CFA, passengers are now obliged to pay 300 francs CFA. To him, it is affecting their business and make them to get into unnecessary confrontation with the passengers. Vehicles owners, just like bike riders, complained of visiting the garage each day after using this stretch of road. However, accusing fingers have been pointed on the poor construction work carried out and also failed promises by authorities during campaigns. The locals review the deplorable nature of the road has not only impeded economic growth and development of the neighborhood, but also has become a death trap to the commuters.
On our international page, Joe Biden, projected to become America's 46th president in January, has vowed to stop constructing a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border, a counterpiece of President Donald Trump's presidency. Let's have details with the VOA.
In the Laredo sector of Texas, agents watch over more than 270 kilometers of the border between the United States and Mexico. Plans are in place to build about 113 kilometers of wall in this area. Laredo Sector Chief Patrol Agent Matthew Hudak says the barrier would help fight criminal groups that smuggle people and contraband into the United States.
When we put wall systems and it takes away that profitability for these criminal organizations, that's money that's not going back into Mexico to supply the weapons, the ammunition that's being used to victimize, our neighbors across the border.
President-elect Joe Biden says he will not tear down wall sections built under President Donald Trump, but makes this promise.
There will not be another foot of wall constructed on my administration.
Customs and Border Protection says 724 kilometers of border wall are on target to be completed by the end of 2020.
President Trump is still the president, will be until January 20th, so until then we can expect construction on the border wall to continue.
Customs and Border Protection says the majority of contracts have been awarded and construction is underway for approximately 1,188 kilometers of border wall funded to date. When Biden takes office, analysts say he would have options when it comes to contracts not yet completed.
His administration may be looking at terminating contracts that are currently in progress, possibly even places where construction is currently in the works. The government does have a lot of leeway to do this and could generally be done pretty easily, sometimes having to pay a termination fee out to contractors.
President Trump's authority to use much of the money to build a border wall is currently being challenged and awaiting a Supreme Court decision, even though much has been spent already. It may be a moot point under a Biden administration.
I think this is going to be one of those problems that are going to find a solution in the political transition. The Supreme Court's decision will really not matter.
Biden has also made this promise about the government lawsuits against landowners who refuse to give up their land for Trump's wall.
Withdraw the lawsuits. We're out. We're not going to confiscate the land.
Instead of extending walls, Democrats have long favored using technology to detect illegal crossers along the more than 3,000 kilometers that make up America's southern border.
I'm going to make sure that we have border protection, but it's going to be based on making sure that we use high-tech capacity to deal with it.
Chief Patrol Agent Hudak favors a multi-pronged approach to border security that includes a physical barrier. Border wall opponents say it harms ecosystems, making flooding worse and cutting off animal trails, and that Biden should do more than stop wall construction.
I think in some places it may have to be brought down. The damage is just too severe on the environment.
In addition to environmental factors, analysts say Biden will not only have to balance security and humanitarian factors at the border, but also public health concerns brought on by the pandemic. Elizabeth Lee, VOA News.
The indomitable Lions of Cameroon are expected back in Cameroon after a double victory against Mozambique during their international break. Their return home has, however, been marred by some constraints faced by their national carrier Cameco. Let's listen to Peter Nsossie with the following details.
The indomitable Lions of Cameroon have left Maputo, Mozambique for Cameroon, following their 2-0 win over the Mambas. In what has been described as a lack of sportsmanship from their host, the indomitable Lions' return to the country has been delayed over difficulties with invoice payments for fuel involving the loan carrier of the Cameroon Airlines Corporation, Cameco. The national coordinator of teams explains.
À l'aller, ils ont payé le carburant en cash. Et au retour, ils ont voulu faire par le même procédé. Et
on their way in, they paid fuel in cash. While leaving, they wanted to do same, but the company refused the cash. After discussions, we opted to pay through electronic card. I personally used mine to make the first installment of $2,000. It was successful, but they insisted it must be confirmed, and it had to be done the next day.
Et la confirmation ne pouvait se faire que demain matin.
The team is forced to spend one more night at the hotel. Tuesday morning, the Federation's Vice President Alim Konate steps in and resolves the problem. The coordinator of national teams is optimistic.
En ce moment, le plein de carburant a été fait. Ils ont pu régler la situation.
The plane has been fully charged and the problem resolved. We are waiting on the pilots to rest because it is important they do so for our security. It is estimated that in about 1 to 2 hours, which is 2 p.m. local time and 1 p.m. in Cameroon, we are hoping to leave.
13 heures au Cameroun, on devrait en principe décoller.
The delay in the return flight has disrupted Cameco's internal program for Tuesday, as flights to Yaoundé and Garoua have been cancelled. The indomitable Lions are expected in Douala at about 9 p.m. local time.
And still in sports, the 20th edition of the Chantal Biya International Cycling Tour started this morning with 96 kilometers in the city of Douala. The presentation of teams has taken place this afternoon and a press conference this morning. Crystal Asexwele with details.
Ten teams in total will be on the starting line of the 20th edition of the Grand International Cyclist Prize Chantal Biya this Wednesday, November 18, 2020 in Douala. This Tuesday, during a press conference, the International Union of Cyclists congratulates the organization of this competition despite the ongoing global health crisis. This 20th edition of this competition includes 5 stages. The first stage will begin this Wednesday in a form of criterium in a distance of 96 kilometers in the economic capital of Cameroon. The arrival of the grand prize is scheduled for Sunday, November 22 in Yaoundé.
And we still talk sports. The Cameroon Electronic Games Association launched their activities today in Douala, and this brought together different electronic sports clubs and lovers who came to exchange and promote their activities. We remain with you, Krista Sexuale.
Today, more than ever, electronic games have become sport disciplines which, just like football, mobilizes energies. A niche of job opportunities to create wealth and add value to the national economy. This is the message uttered by Blaise Diboto, president of the Cameroon Electronic Sports Association, today during the launching activities of the eSports Association here in Douala. Organized by the Cameroonian Association of Electronic Sports, these activities brought together different e-sport clubs, administrative and traditional authorities, as well as lovers of e-sports who came out to live this moment, exchange, and promote their activities in Cameroon. It is worthy to note that Cameroon Esports Association is a fusion of several esports associations who have come together to put forward their various competences in order to participate in the execution of their public service mission established by law since July 11, 2018 of the aforementioned under the acronym Federation. All in all, the Cameroon Association of Esports is an excellent platform which valorizes, sensitizes, promotes, and capitalizes on all the activities related to online games.
Thanks for watching, and that report brings us to the end of tonight's newscast. We will be back tomorrow with more information at 6 p.m. Continue with Orion Donkeng for more information in the French language coming up at 8 p.m. Good night.